morning. I have put in your voice and your picture and did the initial scan. This is the result. Um, kind of to give you an orientation, these are the areas that I'll check today. Um, the higher numbers above 600 uh, in red typically indicates that there's some kind of a temporary imbalance. The um, the numbers that are lower in blue indicate um, an imbalance that seems to be more chronic. Okay, so I'm going to be first um, taking a look at your aura. Okay, now the colors that appear indicate some information. So I'm going to pull up a document that will give us sort of a key. Okay, so a lot of heart information here and um, some throat information in the purple or blue, whatever color this is, some red. Um, these are chakras. So if you've studied chakras at all, you can take a look, or if you'd like to look at them. Um, so later on, you can look at the image of this and kind of get an idea whether it seems to apply to you or not. Typically, it's not unusual for it to fairly apply, and we'll do another aura later after we balance some of the things. Okay, so we're going to start with emotions, and it's in the red today. Now, take a look at the um, numbers that are in red. I'm going to add those to be analyzed further a little bit later, and I'm going to add blue ones. And you can take a look at the words and see if you notice something about them. Sometimes you will notice that there's interesting diagnosis of this. Okay, we're not allowed to call it a diagnosis from a medical standpoint, but when you look at it and see, you know, based on what's going on in your life, you can go, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Okay, or not. Sometimes it doesn't. So now I'm going to go to flower essences. Now, flower essences, if you haven't um, been aware of flower essences before, flower essences are um, interesting the way that they relate. Okay, and there's books you can look online to find out what wild rose means. Um, and when we do the secondary analysis, after we get a little bit farther along, there's the blue ones, we'll kind of review that and it'll sort it and see how relevant it is today for you. Okay, so right now we're putting in a lot of different things, um, and then we'll look at them more um, in order of are they really making sense for you right now. So stomach is and esophagus. Okay, and pancreas came out pretty close, and pancreas is what we were talking about with the enzymes. So I put that one in 2. Now neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are uh, chemicals that your body uses for moving things from to communicate, basically. Nourgees. Nourgees are frequencies that are typically, they were identified by Nogier was the guy's name a long time ago. You can also research these and see if they make sense. Brain EEG. Let's find that. Brain EEG. And again, looking these up for yourself later. Brain anatomy. And spiritual protection. If you're not understanding what some of these things are, cutting the cord, psychic attack, I would encourage you to research them if you want to learn more about what it means. Grounding is an important thing. I recommend that you learn how to ground. Okay, so these are the basic assessments. We have 27 items in the tray, and now what we're going to do is we're going to um, have the program sort them out and identify which ones at this moment are coming out the highest. Okay, so sadness, um, you can read them all. Um, Psychic attack came up pretty high too. Interesting. So I've marked all of the ones in red, and we're going to bounce it. So I'll turn it up. I think you'll be able to hear it. Oops, I turned it down. Just relax and listen to the sounds, and you can look at the screen and watch the images moving. These are transmitting frequencies in through your eyes. Okay, excellent. We came out with 56 as a average percentage rectification, which is excellent. And I'm going to go back over to Aura and see what it looks like. So the sound doesn't synchronize very well with the images because I'm transmitting it from my iPad over to the computer, so just the way it works. Now, when there's a light line going across, it typically means there's energy moving out. When you look at it on the screen and it's over to the left, it means it's going out, and the up and down energy typically means it's spiritual energy, or uh, you can use whatever word, universal energy, God energy, moving through. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the document that you filled out and review that. I'm going to pause the recording for a second while I get it queued up. Okay. Okay, now I've moved your name and date of birth and stuff off the screen so it wouldn't be shared in case somebody else sees the video. So, looking at your history, looks like you've been doing a lot of different things, and you've had quite a few assaults, um, working with different things that are typically not particularly healthy for you anymore. People didn't realize back then. Um, so, detoxing is good. I would focus on that. Do the coffee enemas every day. You might want to do a liver cleanse at some point. Um, and um, if you decide that you're going to get the biofeedback machine, there's detoxing frequencies in there too. Um, or if you want to have it as a service, I can deliver the frequencies to you weekly based on your particular needs. Um, it's amazing how quickly the medical people take going from, oh, we notice something, to cutting it out and burning it and doing damage to you. It's amazing how quickly they do stuff. So, um, the drugs are going to take several months to get out of your body if you do detoxing on an ongoing basis. Um, I would continue with a diet as much plant as you can manage. At least for 3 months, I recommend a total abstinence of animal products because they um, are harder for the body to digest. And they also, of course, contain a lot of fat, which slows down the circulation. Um, After 3 months, and you're maybe back up to, maybe, I don't know what's a good look for you, 145 or 150 pounds, I'm not sure. Um, you could manage, for most people can manage an occasional animal product, monthly or weekly. Sometimes people manage that. I personally have found that well, I pay attention to how I feel, and when I was first switching over, every time I ate animal products, I felt worse, so I don't do it anymore. But that's just me. So you have to pay attention to yourself. Um, we have we have excuse me. Sorry to cough in your ear. Took a drink of water. Thanks. Um, if you haven't learned EFT, I would recommend that you learn EFT. I have a document that you will download after you buy stuff from us. Um, and I would make a list of all of these. Well, you've got a pretty good list now of all the things that have happened to you. Um, and then take and put a number by them. How much energy, when you think of what happened to you, uh, is still in your space when you look at it? Is it 10 in the being pretty severe amount of energy about it, or a zero? You don't even, doesn't even bother you. It's amusing maybe. Okay, so that would include relationships. Make a long list of, you put it into a spiral bound notebook and just make a list of everything that you can think of that might have energy to it. And the reason why we do that is because when you have a stress event and you don't let go right away, sometimes it can replay. And when it replays, it causes a clenching, which means stuff in your body doesn't function as well. So That's why you want to learn a tool like EFT or one of the other ones that are on my document that I'll give you. Okay. Um, okay. Yep. I would write all this stuff down and let go of it. Almost murdered in 1984 is a tremendous amount of stress. Okay. Getting married, getting divorced, it's more stress. So, not a bad idea for you to, you know, make it, write it down and let go of it. Okay. Um, yeah, lots of things to let go of. I hope this is amusement on your part. Um, Afraid to say I laughed when I read that the first time. I hope that was the way you intended it because that's the way I took it anyway. Um, yeah, it's possible for you to go now and meet people. Ask me for a referral to a couple of things, and I'll be happy to give them to you. Um, yeah, you need to expand this so that you have a timeline connected to the things you want to do. That will help you. Okay. Uh, Nothing bad in the supplements that you're taking. They're all good supplements. I also didn't notice if you're eating around the clock and you're staying really on plant based, you're okay. But if you're eating some amount of eggs and stuff like that, I would recommend that you consider doing um, some kind of a fasting program to kick your body into repair mode. A popular one that works for many people is the 16-8 diet, where you don't eat anything for 16 hours a day and then you only eat during the 8 hours. By the time you get to 16 hours, it starts making your body think that you're having stress having to do with a shortage of food, and it starts to um, produce the cells to rebuild things instead of create new ones. So it's real interesting to study. You can read up about it. Okay. Um, and I would say you definitely need to do some clinical probiotics based on your stool and your history. Um, and of course, you already know about smoking not being too good for you, and of course, wine. There's nothing in wine or alcohol that is pro health. Uh, the you know the studies with quotes around them that have been done have all been financed by the manufacturing companies that make that stuff. So if you want to lay off of those, maybe only occasionally on a social, that would probably be best for you. Um, I'm glad you've got air quality with filtration. Saunas are good. Now the teeth. Hmm. When you can manage it, I would recommend that you uh, not during the first 3 months. It's always better to let the enzymes do the work. But after that, you certainly could have the amalgams um, replaced. And if there's any root canals that are discovered, because sometimes you don't know about it until they go, oh, look, there's a root canal in here. Root canals are trouble. If you decide to ever get a tooth replaced, make sure that you're not using metal in the replacement. Okay, and when they pull a teeth out, because you've had 7 of them pulled, you may want to have a cone beam X-ray to find out if you have pockets. Those are called cavitations. When a tooth is pulled incorrectly, which is the vast majority of teeth, the the dentist doesn't realize, they were never trained properly, that you have to scrape the membrane that is like the thin membrane that keeps the tooth from getting pushed out by the bone growing. Okay, so what happens if the tooth is pulled and some of that membrane is left in there? It causes the bone not to be able to fill in 100%, and a little pocket will be formed called a cavitation. And when those cavitations are there, they are pockets of disease, basically. They're places where bacteria can grow. Okay, so if that's the case, the cone beam X-ray, um, with a very good dentist to study it and tell you whether there's pockets in there, um, will uh, advise you, and then um, refer you, or if who, depending on where they are, who they are, uh, drill out the pocket and get all that stuff out and let the bone heal. Okay, it'll make a big difference in your health in the long term, but don't do it until you've gone at least 3 or 4 months on enzymes so that you're stronger. Okay, um, and then you might want to arrange to see a dentist kind of regularly, just because. Um, that oh, yep, that's what a cavitation is. So, um, yeah, the bad breath is generally not from the teeth. Bad breath is generally from the digestion being bad, um, and coming out as bad breath. That's how it works. Um, and I would never recommend that you use any kind of a um, mouthwash or something like that. Just use baking soda or an oil to brush your teeth with, um, and bioflavonoids to strengthen the gums. I can send you a link to something I would recommend. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I hope I answered your questions. I don't see anything jumping off the page except your teeth, um, the enzymes and probiotics for your gut, and reducing the animal products for a little while so that you can heal. Those are all the things I would recommend. Uh, and if you have any questions, get back to me. Okay, I'm going to sign off now. Thanks so much.